But you're talking about a South Dallas kid, much like Ben was, that comes to Texas A&M, has a chance to impact this football team in multiple years. Without question, I think Tiger Ryden is that, and he's got a real argument to be the top back in the state of Texas this cycle.
Hey everybody, welcome into TexAgs Rewind. I'm David Nuno. He's our stat man. His name is Ethan Jones. Ethan, when we talk baseball, obviously the offense gets a lot of the attention because Jace Lavalette just hit another home run, by the way. But the pitching is really a big part of it. What is something you've seen in your stats that is really eye-popping?
I remember last year we threw a lot of walks. That was one struggle. This year we've only allowed 7 walks so far, and also we have the best strikeout-to-walk ratio in the SEC with a 6.71 strikeout-to-walk ratio.
Love it. Give me good pitching with that offense. We're going to Omaha, baby. I'm saying it right now. All right. Hopefully it'll continue. On the show today, we did talk basketball.
Dang, that's tough.
Here's a stat for you. They've lost 3 straight. That's not good, especially in February, especially when I told everybody they're really good in February. That's bad. We talked to Tom Schuberth. He was in studio. We talked to John Harris about the NFL Combine, about what Aggies need to really show up next week. We talked to Trisha Ford. Aggie softball is 9-0. They got 6 games starting tomorrow through Sunday, and then Tuesday got another game. That's 7 games coming up here soon. We also had, who else we have on the show? Recruiting country. I said RC. I was thinking, we didn't have RC. We had RC on the show, as in recruiting country, Ryan Brauninger. That and more. Check out the Rewind.
I thought it was realistic to think that they could get into the tournament and maybe get to the Sweet 16 again. Because, again, I'm looking at a team that has beaten Tennessee, has beaten Iowa State, has beaten Kentucky, has a win over Florida, which is a quadrant 1 win. Took FAU down to the wire, took Houston down to the wire. You know, they were shooting free throws in the last minute to try to take the lead. But I didn't see this happening.
Yep.
This plunge.
What'd you see?
I would have said NCAA tournament, and then to me it's who you get as a draw and then how well you're playing at the end. But I certainly felt like they were an NCAA team, and I still think they can be. They just have to win the right games, and the one thing I think is helping us is the quad 1 victories and all the quad 1 games we've played, although those can change. You know, as you've noticed, some of the teams we have had success against or played are now losing. But being in the SEC, I think they're going to give multiple teams. I think it's still 8 or 9. Hopefully it's 9. My biggest fear, David, is that someone steals a bid in a Power 5 league.
Right.
In other words, like a team that's not going to go to the tournament gets hot and wins a Power 5, conference that gets multiple bids. That's going to eliminate somebody that's supposed to get one, and that could be Texas A&M.
You mentioned the quad 1 wins, but I think Buzz himself on this show, if I remember correctly, even said sometimes the quad 3 losses matter more than the quad 1 wins.
Well, talking to the people that I know through college basketball, they punish you more for having a bad loss than a quality win, because they're saying if you're that good of a team, you're not going to lose to a 3 or 4.
Well, I think that was evident last year with Texas A&M getting a 7 seed.
Yep.
After everything they did in the SEC tournament and in the SEC. They were 15-3 in the SEC, went to the SEC tournament final, and you're a 7 seed. Why? Because you lost to Wofford.
Yep. Let's talk about J.J. McCarthy for a minute. I don't know where he is in your rankings for quarterbacks entering the draft, but I keep seeing people say he's popping up higher and higher. Where does he rank in your quarterbacks?
Well, that's a good question. I've got him right now number 4 in my quarterback ranking. Now, where did I put him in my Harris 100? I mean, I'm still kind of fine-tuning all that. But he's 4th in my quarterback rankings. In my overall rankings, I have him, I think right now, at 17. But I know that's probably going to change. In fact, it's funny you say that. I'm actually watching the Michigan-Alabama Rose Bowl right now. So I think that's going to change. But I also feel like the more that I read and listen, and it's funny, when I was at the Senior Bowl, talking to our scouts, it was like, thank God we got to deal with these quarterbacks. Like, and it didn't mean it as far as like these quarterbacks are bad. It was just there's such a different grind that goes into a situation in a draft when you have to draft a quarterback. And one of our scouts told me that in 2022, he went to like 15, 16 different games as opposed to normally he would just go to like 7 to 8. And so that was all because they were trying to get a quarterback. So it's kind of nice in a sense that, we don't have to deal with that. But I think with McCarthy, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how teams look at him because he's 6'3", but he's 195. He's not a big guy. That was one of the things I had a hard time kind of finding a comp on him in some sense, David, because he's not really the size of kind of the quarterbacks today. Most of them are at least 200 pounds. And so I'm like, man, I don't know if that's a problem, but you watch him. And I noticed this last year. Like I watched him at the TCU game and I was like, man, he's going into his third year. He might be somebody I need to keep an eye on.
Well, let's talk about a couple players that earned SEC honors. We'll take them in parts. We'll start off with Allie, who's just hammering right now.
Yeah, we just leave her alone right now. That kid's worked her tail off. Somebody that, last year came in and really kind of learned a new system, and this year has taken off. Super strong. Strength for us is huge. If you're strong, you can hit a ball and off the wall. So she has taken that to heart and has really worked hard. Just a wonderful athlete and really excited for her. I thought she should have gotten it the first week as well, but I'm a little biased.
Of course, but it's okay.
I'm going to fight for her.
Why do you think she's seen the ball so well?
I think she's in better posture. I think she's understanding her swing a little bit more, so what pitches to attack. I just think she's in a better headspace overall in the box.
Yeah, we're seeing that Emily also pitching at an All-American level.
Yeah. Not surprising to me. I get to work with her every day, but man, she is fun. She is competitive. You watch her out on the field. Just somebody that's really excited to be out there competing. She wants the ball every single game. Our defense enjoys throwing behind her, playing defense behind her, but just she's fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm looking at the stat. Tell me if this is right, because our staff put it together. 35 strikeouts in 25.2 innings.
Yes.
That's pretty.
Yeah. I just let her, keep doing what she's doing.
I almost feel like I shouldn't ask you about it, right? Like I can do more harm than good.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah.
And how about the start Trinity Cannon has had?
Yeah, Trin, she's somebody that's been a staple of this Aggie offense, before we got here. But last year I felt like started the year really, really hot and then cooled down. So we addressed that. We kind of talked about some things that maybe she got away from last year at the end of the year. And, obviously she's been concentrating a little bit more on just hitting. She's been more of our DP role. She will play some first base as well. But she's a savvy senior, somebody that knows what this is like and how to make, things happen.
The coaching and recruiting staff is eager to hit the ground running and make some headway and really cause some ripple effects and some waves, which is what Tiger Ryden has done. First of all, sensational player. Like, you can look at him and go every down back. I actually had a buddy of mine that reached out and texted me. He's like, does he kind of remind you of Ben Molina a little bit? And I was like, yeah, I can see there's some Ben Molina in there. It's a better version, I think, right now than Ben Molina. But he's got some jump cut ability, not a necessarily pull away from you guy, but will run through contact, will eat up 10, 12, 15 yards at a time, but also like kind of an underrated, shifty player. And Jason talks about his willingness to be a pass blocker, his willingness to be a receiver out of the backfield, two other things that we saw Ben Molina be pretty exceptional at during his time at Texas A&M. So I think he's a better version of Ben Molina, but you're talking about a South Dallas kid, much like Ben was, that comes to Texas A&M, has a chance to impact this football team in multiple years. Without question, I think Tiger Ryden is that, and he's got a real argument to be the top back in the state of Texas this cycle.
So how important do you think the DFW area is to Coach Elko in moving forward?
Oh, it's massively important, and we've written about that. We talked about it. It's something that had to happen, and there's no reason in going back into why their presence had suffered and waned as much as it had under the last staff. But when Elko got here, that was just the situation they were in, and it had to be remedied. Like, that was one of my big points, like what he has to do. There's some things that he can take his time with. One of the things he had to do was repair the damage that was done with the Texas high school coaches. Done that. And the next thing was almost right after that was re-energize their presence in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And when you're looking at Kelvion Riggins, you're looking at Tiger Ryden, and you're looking at some of the other top players that are now emerging as real candidates to become part of this Texas A&M class that are in the Metroplex area, like they're doing that, and they're spending time up there. They're allocating resources up there, and for now, you'd have to say that it's paying off.
Jones, tell the people, like, not only what to do, but what the analytics say, because I know you've done the stats behind it, when they like, comment, and subscribe.
So when you like, comment, and subscribe, the Aggies are 100% more likely to win. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think that's the stat.
I saw that somewhere.
I don't think that's the stat, although we can use that as a maybe. I think what it does help is when you like, comment, and subscribe, it shows up more on the algorithm. And then TexAgs as a brand shows up on Texas website, or Texas fans, on Arkansas fans, on LSU fans. That's really the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's what I should have said. But also, maybe it helps Aggies win. We haven't tried it yet.
I don't think it does. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I don't think what we say, even though people say, hey, Nuno, you were too high on the team, that's why we lost. It has no
You're
bearing.
right.
Unless it has a little bearing, because since I've been here. Never mind. We'll talk about that next time. We'll see you.